We need some intro music.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
I mean, I'm screaming. Okay, you know what?
I don't know where I was
screaming.
walking in. You was like,
Why you didn't tell me that?
You sitting right there.
What does that have to do with anything? You said you wanted us to walk in
From the
side.
side.
That's not what you said.
Girl, sit down.
We can't even do this.
We can't even intro.
Oh, Jesus. I ain't saying nothing like this.
Hello.
You know what? If there was ever a time to be specific, that would have been the quality time. But it's fine, you know. People just gotta see us fight.
Seek help, friend. I didn't know that I needed to be that specific with you.
I mean, if you say you wanted to get us walking in, I was just gonna come around, sit there, like, I thought that was gonna give more of a, cause I'm walking from where? We ain't gotta do nothing. I ain't
It's
have
just
to.
sitting down.
If it was just us sitting down, we could have just sat down.
Wow.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. And I want all of this. All of this on there.
Welcome back to the Seek Help podcast.
Ooh.
You know who I'm going to be today? I'm going to be Taylor Rooks today.
You
Black women in sports.
You be Taylor Rooks. Black women in tech. That's.
If the invention fits.
If it fits, it does. I feel like let's go with Stephen A. Smith. I'll just be a black man in sports.
Okay.
Since he's real popular this week.
Fair.
He's real popular.
Fair. Wait, Stephen A. Smith or Shannon Sharp?
No, Stephen A. Smith.
What did he do?
You didn't see the interview on Sherry?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch
Oh,
the thing. I did
see.
see Shannon looking all strong with that sweater, looking back like.
I'm screaming. I didn't see
saw a clip
Shannon.
of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't see Shannon. But
Swap.
swap. There we go. This is all Shiobi's church announcements. But I'm gonna just go into that now. So the first part of our episodes are always gonna be Shelby's church announcements. And really I'm just here to help y'all to what I feel like y'all should be listening to, watching, doing, whatever have you. That's really all the purpose of that is. So we're gonna, but also may sprinkle in a little popular topic every now and then. So this is gonna be the popular topic because Stephen sat on the couch and he said, I don't think Rihanna needs to be, basically saying I don't think Rihanna needs to be doing the Super Bowl because love her, great gal, but not Beyonce. And Sherry's like, well, come on, Steven, cause Sherry already knew the Navy was y'all not finna come for my show because he got on this here couch and said, so she's like, come on, Steven. She can hold her on. She can hold her own. She can do. He's like, I love her music. I listen to, it's giving great gowns, beautiful gals, but
not Beyonce.
And for performance, the man wasn't wrong. We're not going to sit here and act like Rihanna can give a Beyonce performance. But at the same time, the girls have been waiting for Rihanna for a very long time. And we love what she does. We love what she gives us. We love to see her in every sense of the word. And I just feel like she's going to give us a great show. But it might not be Beyonce. And he wasn't wrong.
But why?
But why do we have to do that? Yes, we didn't have to do that.
Was you saying that's supposed to get Beyonce on the ringer and have her be like, Rihanna, sit this one out?
There was no purpose.
I got it, sis. I need to warm up before my tour. I did actually see that clip of him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are my thoughts. Like, why did you need to say that?
I mean, that was my thought.
You could have just left that out completely, but maybe he was just trying to be salacious, and it obviously worked.
I mean, his job is to
Salacious.
be provocative. Yes, be provocative, get the people going. Like, so that's what the man is used to doing. But much like Sherry said the next day, she's like, he's not used to sitting in front of a couch of women and sitting on the show that mainly women watch and saying these things because
no, sir.
That's not what these women are asking for.
No,
and
sir.
I don't think he knew that before he came on. Apparently he did apologize, and Sherry was like, I really don't think he needed to apologize. He said how he felt and did the things, you know. She was like, I can't say that he needed to apologize, because she was like, I would like to think that we're in a time where you can just have an opinion and kind of go with it, especially one that's not, while yes, slightly problematic, wasn't hurting anybody in a real, like,
right.
it wasn't hurting somebody in a real way. So it's just like, I can't say that I feel like he needed to apologize either, but hey. Salacious.
And I guess in the spirit of salation.
Give us all the salacious.
Yeah,
I like salation. I enjoy that in my spirit.
Salacious.
Have weaved. A little bit. Insider. It's fine.
For those of you who've been with me at least for some time, y'all may recall that I used to have this little ditty, small little ditty, just chronicling my life falling apart and getting a divorce. No big deal. But it was called the Pick Me Podcast. And the topic of it was Black millennial relationships. And so as we have revamped the Seek Help podcast, the Pick Me Pod wanted to make an appearance too, because
the Pick Me's still there, baby.
Well, no. We need help.
We've revamped.
As a people. We're not doing well on the relationship front.
Well, tell us why, friend.
Why are we not doing well on the relationship front?
I mean, that's what I thought we were going into, but it doesn't.
No, that's a big question. Why do I think that Black people in particular are failing at having relationships? We no longer prioritize the skills necessary to have healthy relationships, and the skills necessary to have healthy relationships are no longer integral in our daily lives like they once were. Even if you
believe that they once were?
I do. As a means of survival, if nothing else, there was a level of respect, there was a level of decorum, there was a level of things that us as people of color had to have. And the same way people like to say, oh, well, because of feminism, now women are all out here acting like hoes. Because we're not slaves anymore, we're like, oh, I don't have to do this. I can behave however I want to and take me as I am. Or it's, someone else's fault. And so I think that overall there's a lot more nuance to it. But I think because we don't care to have those skills, like it's almost like we can, oh, well, my mom never taught me that, or, oh, I didn't grow up in a 2-parent home, so you can't expect me to, it's like there's always a reason why people don't have to be decent people. And in the Black community in particular, I feel like we are leaning super hard into that. This is not a Black man, this is not a Black woman thing. All of us collectively are leaning a little bit too hard into the idea of take me as I am, I get to be who I am, and who I am does not have ramifications for my family or community at large. And it does. I don't think that we're showing up, like when I was talking about like decorum and stuff like that, we're not showing up like we are a representation of our people the way we used to. Like, we used to have to enter in a room and know if I go in here and do something stupid, they gonna be thinking all black people are gonna be doing this.
That's fair.
And we don't do that anymore. Like, yes, we have a variety of images of black people and what they look like. However, there are still tons of white people who have never met a black person. There are still tons of people who do not live with black people, or if they do, there's one or two, and then the only two black people. Like,
That's
so
true.
when someone comes across you as a black person, it's like, I don't think about this. Even black person to black person, it's like, oh, I can look down on them because they're one of those blacks or whatever. Like, I don't need to pour into them. I don't need to give them advice or help them because either they don't care or they already know it all. Maybe the issue is that we've all started making assumptions about other people. I don't know. But what I do know is that we're not building community the way that we need to. We're not pouring into our youth. We're not mentoring people, and we don't think people need it. It's like, you can find everything on the internet, so I don't need to ask my grandma how to make a sweet potato pie. Like, we're losing recipes. We're literally losing recipes. And so for me, as you know, the resident pick me princess, it's so much less about being chosen and being in a relationship, I would say, than being in relationship, because I am in relationship with all black people across the diaspora by way of being black. And so it's important to me that we discuss these skills while we are telling y'all to seek help, that we are doing our part to help y'all with this, because we're losing the meemaws and the papaws. We're losing our aunties. We are starting to take the charge of being the adults that are pouring into the community.
That's fair.
Like, we need to be out here making sure the kids are okay and you know, reaffirming them and letting them know, like, hey, black girl, you're beautiful. Hey, black boy, it's more than money and rap cards and fucking hoes. Like, we have to be the ones to do that. And so it's like, again, we have to step outside of ourselves as individuals and think about, well, what does this portray about my community? And is that something that I would be proud to stand beside? Is that something that I would be okay with owning? So yeah, I guess that's my little spiel.
Yeah, I mean, you had a different take, which I wholeheartedly agree with. When I asked that question, I was thinking about it more from the perspective of, I just feel like there was a lot of secrecy back then that made up, like, let me put this into perspective in a real way. So I feel like I use this example a lot for you. So you'll have heard it before, but they won't. The Braxtons, when they were all with Ayama, and she was talking to them, and she was like, you know, so what are these values that you've built, you know, that Braxton family values, what have y'all done? And they're just like, you know, what goes on in the home, we don't have to talk about it out there, and da-da-da-da, and like, they were saying things along those lines, and she was like, so secrets, like, and I'm like, because that is a lot of the ways that people, that's why when they went out, that's how I've always thought about it, like, when they were going out, we look put together, because nobody needs to know that I have 3 families out here, like, that's why I said, is there, because, or like, was it that way? Because I just feel like there was a lot more going on than we knew about.
But I think, to speak to us losing recipes, we don't keep our secrets in house anymore. And I'm not saying that that's justified, but even in the example that you gave, they can talk about it like, oh, what happened out here? I bet you all their neighbors and aunties and people knew.
Yeah.
People knew, but it's like, I don't know, and this is something that I've always found interesting, is the adjective I'll use, about the Hispanic community, because everyone has problems, but the way that they handle their problems, the way that they keep it in house, the way that they show up to help someone when they have a problem, is something that I'm like, us as a community need to emulate. But instead we like
You could say
shame
the same
people.
thing about the Jewish community.
Yeah, or well,
they
I don't
keep
know
everything
about the
in house.
Jews, they be a little mean, but my
Fair.
point is like we don't do that. We're gonna shame you. We're gonna blame you. The same way that we give away our accountability, we're gonna blame you for being in a situation instead of trying to figure out how can we prevent it from happening again and how can we get you out of it. We're just gonna sit there and stare and watch you and tell you that it's all your fault. And then be like, girl, let me tell you, Johnny ain't da-da-da-da-da. Like, no. Where's... Can we pick ourselves, please? Can we pick our community? Can we pick our people? Can we start?
I agree.
Like, if you know that someone is on family number 3, why won't you connect him with your uncle that's on family number 4 but stopped on 4 and is happily married so that them two can figure out how we can... Like,
a lot of it is rooted in, well, if you act like you fine, then who are me to come... That's what the people are thinking. If you're sitting there and acting like you fine, then who are me to come in and do
acting like we're fine is a residual
It
of
is.
slavery.
It is.
Like, put
It
that
is.
on the top of the post-traumatic slave disorder list because, again, much like this decorum, we've always had to be okay.
Right.
So what you even asking me for? You know what's wrong. You know what's wrong. Let's get there. Why is you asking me if I'm okay? You know I'm not okay. You got to see me in a corner, balled up, crying to offer me some help.
Some people do. Some people do. That's real.
Well,
sad.
if that's you, mind your business. And don't be saying nothing to nobody about
I
me.
agree.
Because when you had the opportunity to help, you chose to gossip. When you had the opportunity to support, you chose to shame.
Aha.
So don't be...
That's
Don't
my God.
Don't be over here worried about what I got going on.
On
'Cause
today.
if you gonna worry
Worry.
in a real way, not just messy so you can have something on the phone to chit chat about people because you know what's going on. And again, the point of this is that it is our duty when we see these things, we should be the ones intervening. Our
agree.
parents, our grandparents, they old. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. The world has
That's
changed
fair.
so much for them just in the last 20 years. They can't keep up. They got whiplash. They still trying to figure out how to text. We can't put this responsibility on them because they can't equip people to live in this world as they are actively struggling just with the basics of this world. That's not to say that we not struggling.
In this economy, the basics.
It's not to say that we not struggling, but we can adapt a little bit quicker. So
You don't have to struggle in every area. I think that's the point of it
We
all.
don't
Let's
use
not
the internet.
struggle everywhere. Like,
we know how to
in
Google.
every arena.
You can set up Alexa. Like,
There are a lot of options.
your parents can't. Them plugging in Alexa and going on the app is a 42-minute undertaking. Like, no.
Google is right there.
But yeah, so that's what this pick me portion will be about. Honestly, we had hold on. Start all over again.
You're doing great.
Forgot what I was about to say.
It's all right.
Because I was going to introduce the show.
That's fair.
That's fair.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much, Fred.
Love this.
Hi.
That's what you gotta.
As you all can tell,
Yes.
we're not in our normal digs for our shenanigans.
Special
We're at a very special place with a very special person.
person. No, really, she's amazing.
I'm trying. No, seriously.
She's
this,
amazing.
Y'all just need to watch the interview. I got so much
Right.
from it, and we know that y'all will too.
Right.
So get into it. And this is what the Seek Help podcast looks like. This is where we're going. We are trying to, not trying to. We are.
We are.
We are highlighting our peers, millennials,
Yeah.
people, like I just said, who have the charge.
Right.
And going through their journeys with them so that other people, in general, the age really doesn't matter, can understand that there is no one path to success. There is no one way to follow your purpose. But there are ways that you can know better and do better and be better.
Yeah.
And so our guest today really illustrates that so well.
Encompasses everything.
So well about making the best choice for you.
Yeah.
Even though it may not look right to other people, even though it may not have the finances attached to it that you like, even though it may not, look like what you think it's supposed to look like. Making that choice, trusting that that's the right choice for you, and then just pursuing that purpose and that path. So yeah, it was honestly such a pleasure and privilege to talk to this young lady. She's let us post up.
That's it.
In the crib. Literally, this is her house.
Literally. Because when is sleep? When do you go home?
She at home. So we're going to get into that. Follow us at Being Unbecoming.
And that's so I shall be. But I'm fine.
And welcome back to the Seek Help Podcast, y'all.
We're back and we're black. Rhoda Young.
Do you lie?
Rhoda Young is back. I'm kidding. Okay.
We are here. I had to pull it out.
Where did the comb?
Yeah.
We're gonna have that the whole day.
These pockets are real thick. Everything's great.
Oh yeah, I love this.
Everything's
This is
great.
amazing.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
We're
gonna hold
paired.
it together. We're going to hold it together.
I told her we're gonna grow up one day.
Today's not the day.
Never is.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Abir Chaudhry. Yes.
Yes, come on.
I
Got a
am
snap for the
director of operations at the
Period.
University of Maryland, Collegeburg.
Period.
Yes. And friends of Kiana.
yes.
757.
Oh my God, what?
2 down. 2001. Yes. That is a very. Oh my God, that's 21 years ago. That is insane.
Oh, we're so old.
A long periodically time.
Period.
That's
Made out
what
the mud,
that is,
people.
a long
Yeah.
periodically
Yeah,
time.
the 7'5" in us is strong.
Strong.
So, since 3rd grade to now, what?
I'm screaming.
Catch us up.
Made it to 4th. So
I made it a little bit
further
further.
than that. No, gosh.
Give me 5th.
It's I can't.
Don't take us anywhere.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, at all. Period. Okay, so obviously here at Maryland, but I graduated from Maryland. I left Hampton in 10th grade and then came to the University of Maryland for undergrad in kinesiology, exercise science. I was a water girl, hydration specialist, which I think I just wanted to be in sports because growing up in Hampton is such a sports area. And so I was like, I love sports. I really don't know what I want to do. My entire family's foreign. They want me to be a doctor. Not doing that. And so undergrad, I was like, I started as a bio major. I was going to, be a doctor and started working with the team. I was like, wow, really like physical therapy, like athletic training. And I was like, as I got through it, I was like, man, this is more my speed. My senior year, they were like, Beer, you can't really do it anymore. We got to teach new people. I was like, sad. Started working upstairs, which was like the administrative area, management, and I loved it. I was like, love telling people what to do, love organizing, love event planning. That's my thing. So then I loved operations. I was like, that's cool. Had to get a job, had no money. In sports, for a lot of you, does not make a ton of money up front. And so I was like, I'll get a job, work on weekends, help you guys on weekends, do game day, do the fun stuff.
Right.
Worked with Dr. K, orthopedic surgeon for the CAP, so I still got to do sports.
Yeah.
Was working with Georgetown Hoya basketball, but then he had a private practice. I didn't care about nobody's knees.
Yeah.
Their knees, their shoulders. I did not care. They were out for the opioids. And so then...
Sorry.
Yeah, no, literally.
That's what it's doing.
No, I was just like, Dr. K, I love you, hate them. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Working at Maryland, it was great. I was like, I gotta go back to sports. I applied to 60 jobs. No joke. And it was like, I can qualify. I got a college degree.
Right.
But I should be getting the secretary job.
Right.
I can do that. And I wasn't getting a call back. And I was just every day. And it dawned on me when I applied to Arkansas. And I was like, so if you're a sports fan, it's like, okay, that's the SEC, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what would I do if I even got this job? And I had to renegotiate with myself. I said, I might need to get out of this situation. Might need to stick with medicine. Might need to keep going down the physical therapy route. And I didn't. I got a call back from UCLA, and God knew that he couldn't put me anywhere because I'm of color. And I just, like, I can't live. I've lived in Hampton, I lived in Texas, I lived in DC, so it's like, there's a select places I can go.
Yeah.
And I got a call back from UCLA for literally an administrative assistant position. I was like, okay, for a smooth $40,000, I'm gonna go move to Los Angeles. And they flew me out, and I'm the type, like, I was so nervous. I got off the plane, and I'd never been to Los Angeles in my life. I am 23 years old. I'm like, okay, here we go. Went to the hotel, waited for them to pick me up. Didn't leave my hotel, didn't know where I was. And everyone was like, oh, sunny California. It was gloomy the entire time because it was like March, and looks like what it is right now. It's like super gloomy. They picked me up, showed me UCLA, and I was in love. I was like, and I just read about it. Like, I didn't even think it was a real school. Like, I'm from the East Coast, born and bred.
That's fair.
Never been nowhere but up and down the East Coast.
I was like, West Philadelphia, born and raised. It's just like where I spent most of my days.
I went to Disney at 16. I wasn't going much else. Like, that was it. And so I was like, man. So I came back, and my mom literally told me, she's like, I don't even know why you went. You ain't going. And I was like, I'm not allowed to go. And once I got 23 years old, I was like, wait, I can't go. I'm not allowed to go.
I'm screaming.
And got a job. And I was like, I'm gone. Like, first opportunity, I was like, they are the premier university. Yeah. They're, like, academically really sound. Like, they are just all around that school. And then it was in a city that I was like, I can manage that. It's diverse. That beaches. Like, it's cool. Like, I can do that. Left on a Thursday. Shipped my car out there. Had work on Monday. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on. I was staying in like an Airbnb. My high school teacher knew a teacher out there who was leaving for the summer, so I stayed in her apartment. Like, it was a mess.
So we're 23. We're in LA.
Okay, we're 23. We're in LA. Teacher's friend.
Yes.
In an apartment. Don't know nobody. And my mom and dad were not having. Like, they didn't even want me to move. And I was like, here I am, first day of work, and whereas here, I went to the University of Maryland, like, I can embody that. My uncles went here. Like, I grew up around the community of Maryland, so, like, I got it. I understood. Right. And so,
right, just in case.
I'm like, I heard it.
I heard it click, yes. But I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, like, I grew up in Maryland. Like, when they came from Pakistan, they showed up in Laurel, Maryland, down the street. Like, they could have picked anywhere. And we came here. And so, really, like, I could speak on it. I felt comfortable. I knew the community. And here I am, like, nothing. I only ever wore red. Now I'm like switching sides. I gotta wear all blue, but not when I'm in Inglewood. Like, it was crazy. Like, I had to change it up, and I wasn't aware of these things. And no one coached me up on it. Like,
not when I'm in Inglewood.
Right?
You know, not in the wood, baby. Not in the wood.
And so then
you cuz of blood, fam. Like, you cuz of blood.
Oh. I get to LA. I fall in love. I love the place. And I'm East Coast mentality. Like, I'm in there at 8 a.m. Like, I'm staying till like 7. They're like, you can go. Like, and then no one showed up till 9:30. And not saying they worked any less. Like, they were getting everything done. But, like, it wasn't this culture of, like, rush to be in. Don't take a lunch break. Eat at your desk. Like, we were outside. There was palm trees. And I was like, I can do this. No friends. And so I started signing up for, so when you go to, like, shows, like NAACP Image Award, the people on the red carpet, you sign up for free. And I was like, I don't really hang out with people. It's one of those cities where, like, people live far away, so, like, you hang out at work, and then when you're done, you're done. Yeah. You just don't see them again. I was like, okay. And so I would just sign up at night and go to these events. So I was on the red carpet for the NAACP Image Awards. I went to, like, J-Lo was, like, shooting a show for a pre-show when they were raising money for, like, a hurricane. It was called The Voice. No, it wasn't The Voice. Sorry. It was whatever DJ Khaled did, Meghan Trainor, Diddy.
Dang.
It was The Fourth. It was The Fourth. Okay. We're here on the first thing of that, and I'm in the audience. Girl, you were stuck for, like, 7 hours for production. I didn't know that. But I had nothing else to do. But I'm just living my life. I was like, I can't believe this is real.
That is
and
crazy.
Like, everybody at work is like, what are you doing? And most people at UCLA are, like, born and bred, like, Angelinos, and, like, they're from there. Like, they're not into that. And I'm just like, I ain't got nothing better to do.
They're like, it's giving tourism,
It
girl.
is.
Don't do
But
this.
they were like,
That's
giving
what
amazing.
implant.
So, right, no, literally, true, full-on implant. But I got to be, like, by myself, and that's the first time in my life. I have 3 brothers, so, like, I was always around them. I have a ton of family. They all live in Maryland. So it's like, I'm alone. Like, I don't know a single soul for at least 2,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, hiking. I'm doing the beach. Like, I'm just doing things. I went to the movies alone.
Isn't it great?
It was why, girl, P.F. Chang's, let me tell you. They did this coupon, okay? And it was buy one, get one, but you had to dine in. And so for me, I'm like, what am I? And now, once again, I'm making $40,000. All right, so I'm like, I got
That's it, buying one and getting one.
So I sat. I was like, give me a booth, put me on the corner. Bought one. Is anyone else coming? No, just me. Got one. That lasted me about a week.
Yeah.
The portion size. So I just was living this life, and I just like really enjoyed it, and I loved it. And then my entire family was like, when are you coming back? And I was like, I don't know. So then turned into my career. So I was in a long relationship, and here's my significant other, and Dr. K, my boss, calls me back. He's like, look, I know you love Los Angeles. I got a job for you. Now I'm 25. 6 figures, run our surgery center. You'll be like the administrator of this multi-million-dollar facility, and it's in Maryland. And me, I was like, Dr. K, no, I'm okay.
Okay.
Because I loved what I did, and I loved what I was doing with. Mm-hmm. And now, at the same time, I was having struggles. Like, I was like, at the housing situation, like, I lived in these apartments. I was like hopping, and then I got a babysitting job. So, whereas in Maryland, I was always assigned to football. Here I am working with the AD, like, you're not assigned one sport, so you don't have to go to all these events.
Right.
Girl, I'm babysitting for this family. The parents are home. The nanny leaves at 7, and I'm like the 7 to like 11 shift. Okay. And the parents are around. I was like, so what do you want me to do? Like, what am I supposed to do here? And they didn't want nothing to do with their kids. So I'm just like, so I was like making, just making money, like whatever, extra money so I can fly back and forth, whatever. But I get the job opportunity, and I'm like, God, I don't want to go. But I knew I had to tell my, I was like, look, this offer's on the table. I'm making 40. I can make 6 figures. I'm 25. Really, my struggles wouldn't be struggling if I was making that money. And I'm back home, so I'm not wasting money on flights. I thought of like my significant other. I was like, if they were in my shoes and I had the money and the job to come back home to me, and I'm here in D.C., like, would I want him to do the same for me? And I was like, well, duh. He better do that for me. Right. But I don't really want to do that. And not because of him. It was just like, I'm doing what I love to do. And like in sports, like, that doesn't happen that often. Your opportunities are very limited. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's who you know and all these things. So me even getting an opportunity to interview without anyone knowing me was unheard of. Yeah. Then my grandpa found out, and he said, look, he goes, and then like I still have the voicemail, and it's in Urdu, so it's kind of hard to understand, but he goes, I just heard you're coming back. No, that was not it. That was not the conversation. He goes, this is God, and this is da da da. I was like, okay.
Now you gotta go.
And he's my heart, right? And I'm like, I'm in tears telling people I UCLA. I'm like, I want to go. And like, but they're like, you don't have to go. And I'm like, but you don't understand. Like, I'm just in this conundrum of like, here's my family. I have my significant other and like money. And like, if I could go back, I think part of me, 100% my heart would have told me to stay. Mm-hmm. But knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have stayed because 2018 happens. As soon as I get back, my grandpa, 75 years old, the year before goes to 20 countries, like does Australia by himself, does New Zealand and Thailand, whatever. He gets diagnosed with cancer. Out of the blue. And I was like, gone. Yeah. Because then, though, like literally took the job. Miserable, horrible, never did it. Running a facility where like 12 people above me, they hate each other. They all own the surgery center. They don't like each other. Yeah. And they're all orthopedic surgeons, so they're arrogant AF. And then you have all these nurses, and I'm 25, and I'm their boss, and they're like, girl, sit down somewhere.
That's it.
They weren't having it. They're like, no. They're like, we've been through this before, you won't last. So now, I'm in this conundrum of like, I know I can be organized, I know I can be a good manager, and all those things, like, they have nothing and don't want nothing to do with me. And the bosses, they have their favorite nurses, so now they're like allowing behaviors, and I'm like, so what's the point of me?
Right.
And I've never probably explored mental health and things like that, but like, if there's any time I can look back in my life and know I was like depressed, it's when you're like crying every day on your way to work, and like, that median looks pretty good to me. Like, literally, I'm in 495.
It's not funny.
But like, it's this feeling of like,
but
you like reflect back and you're like, oh my God. Like, that was not me. But like, it was who I was.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, strain on my relationship did not go well for that. And then for my family, they're all like, well, you're making money. You should be fine. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that's not it. But like, that's happening in my life. But then my grandpa's sick he gets diagnosed and dies within a month.
Wow.
So I'm like, my world is like in my head. Like I would leave, go to work at 5 a.m. The surgery center opened up really early. Get off. Like I'd be like, peace out, leaving, going to the hospital, spend my whole night with him, do the same thing over and over. And like one day I was driving back and I was like, God, I'm only gonna have like a year with him. And that's in my head making up stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna have a year with him. Girl, had I known, I would have quit that job right then and there.
Yeah.
And then the turning point at that job, I hated it, so do what you love is really what's important here. That's the theme.
Right.
And so it came at his funeral. I took off one day, the day of his funeral. And they called me while I was at the funeral. I was like, I am burying my best friend if you don't mind. Thank you. Like, don't call me.
Yeah.
And when you're in a job where people literally, they were just so worried about themselves.
Yeah.
And like, they couldn't see past, like, I'm like, y'all, we're foreign. This is all I got. This is my blood.
Yeah.
And so,
You don't
and
have
that's
to tell me.
right.
Because I have a job that's not nearly as important as yours. And literally, I'm at the hospital and my boss calls me and I'm like, girl, I'm at the hospital and she could go at any minute. So what do...
Please, advise. Please
tell
me
what we have to talk about right now.
That was
And
so
she's like, I'm so sorry. But then I'm like, get off my phone!
You're not sorry.
You're not sorry! Get off my phone!
Because you wouldn't be sorry if I sent you the voicemail, you didn't call me back.
Right.
Like,
I did send her the voicemail the first time, and then she called me again. So I'm like, girl, maybe this is important. I made that mistake. This was not important.
It was wild.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
In those moments, you're like, bro, this ain't it. Like, I could just live with somebody else. Like, I don't need my apartment. I don't really need these things. But that's when I was like, F them. So when I got to work, I said, don't talk to me. Do not. And I knew, I was like, I gotta get out. But at that point, I'm like, I done lost my connection in sports. How I felt was, I lost my connection in sports. I just abandoned LA. I'm telling LA I'm miserable. They're like, come back. And like, my family's going through this. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I didn't know the path to take. And like I said, sports is hard because it's 100% who you know. Mm-hmm. And how did I not have to do what you've done or haven't done? But here I am, flip-flopping jobs every other year. And I was like, who's gonna want that? And then Annie, she's the bomb.com. So she was actually my supervisor when I was a student in the operations and management. She's been the only consistent thing in Maryland football for the last 10 years, which is crazy because normally when coaches change, we've had 4 head coaching changes, they fire everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She is the glue. She knows everything about this place. And like, she calls me and she's like, Coach Ox got hired. So Coach Ox was there when I was there. Mm-hmm. She's like, I need help. I don't know if there's a job here, but he's only here for 2 days. Come meet him. I was like, and I was on the defensive side of the ball, he was on the offensive side of the ball, so we like crossed paths, but like I kept up with way more people than Coach Fox. And he had been at Alabama winning national championships. Like, he don't know me. I was like, fine, snuck out of work. I was like, I gotta go. I got something to do. Show up here, and he's like, looks like you've been job hopping. And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. So why do you want to work here? And I'm like, because I hate my job. Like, I literally hate it. So I want to work in football. I've kind of done the back and forth. I know this is what I want to do. He's like, all right, well, I'll see. And, you know, Miss Linda, like, that's Coach Saban's assistant. And, you know,
one of the phones is
yours?
it might be mine.
It's definitely 100%.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
this is my life. So we're going to cancel
like,
that.
my watch is about to die,
No,
so
no.
I'm sure it's not even telling me.
But yeah, so he's like, you know, Miss Linda is Coach Saban's assistant. You know, Coach Saban is like, Coach Saban. He is thebomb.com. He is everything in college football. And now Miss Linda's mom. She's worked with Coach Saban, Bill Belichick, and Pete Carroll.
Okay.
At different parts of their career. And I'm like, very highly successful individuals. And to be someone's assistant is a really selfish job.
Yeah.
It's all about them. And their glory and whatever you can do to elevate them. And you're just doing a really good job to do it, and she's the GOAT for real. And so he was like, well, she keeps Coach Saban on track, and she's the one. I was like, okay, cool. She's also 70, and I was like, well, I don't know how to be like Miss Linda, but whatever. So we leave, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know how to win. I don't even know what job I'm interviewing for. Is there a job?
Right.
Okay, so I find Miss Linda's email online. Email her, I was like, look, just met with Coach Loxley. He speaks so highly of you. What does it take to be the greatest, at your job? And I learned that because at UCLA, they would tell me, if you want to learn something, you need to go to the best person to do it. And I think that's why I chose UCLA, because astounding organization, just had success in every single sport, just premiered, right? And when I was like, what does it take? What are you doing that's different? There's 132 FBS programs. You're obviously the head of the game. What are you doing? And she goes, I'm so glad you reached out. She goes, I'm, put out fires. You're a firefighter. You're going to anticipate, and then whatever comes up, take care of it before he finds out. And I was like, okay, cool. That was it. It was not much of an exchange, but I was like, wow, she's so cool. She's so cool. And I was like, but she's been doing it a long time. And I was like, wow, what are you doing different? And she was like, if you need anything, just let me know. But when Coach Loxley came back, back home to Alabama to national championship, she was like, Loxley, you need to hire Abir. And he was like, how do you even know who that is? How would you know? He's like, well, she emailed me and you need to hire her. So really, between Annie and Miss Linda, those are who hired me, not Coach Lox. And within a month, he was like, come on. And when I left that other toxic job, they were like, you're a jock sniffer. Why would you want to work in sports? They literally said these things to me, you're not going to make any money in sports. And it's true. I went back and I took a 50% pay cut. I mean, I was living a life with 6-figure salary, and now here I am, not.
Right.
And I was like, what am I going to do financially? But more so, I just got to get out. And I was like, this is actually exactly why I'm leaving.
Right.
In case anyone's wondering. Started in
I didn't know that was a... Well,
yeah, it was. Apparently, and it's is that appropriate to say to anyone?
Right.
Especially, for being a female, it's F you. Okay, I know how to do my job. I'm clearly doing it well. You guys just suck. And so I left, and it was just the most liberating feeling. So I was like, this one's for me. This is the one that I felt like UCLA got away. That's the one that got away, but this job was going to be for me. And Coach Loxley let me do whatever I wanted to do. Yes, I was an administrative assistant, and on the grand scheme of I was a secretary, and that's how kind of the outside was looking in. But he was like, here's this project, here's that project, take over player development, work on stewardship and getting more donors. All the things to make sure that I had a balanced resume, and I didn't feel now I have taken this immense step back where it's I still felt like I was productive, I was still growing, because now here I am, I'm 26, 27, now it's okay, I can't just keep going back and forth taking steps backwards, I need to propel myself forward. But I knew taking that step would lead me to where I was, and then 2 years later, he fires our director of operations, and I get this opportunity that he's I told him, he knew to keep me. I was like, I need more money. I can't live like this.
Yeah.
Yes. And this got me right. And this is prime COVID. And so I'm I cannot. And the opportunity came. He goes, here's the director of operations. I was like, I didn't ask for more responsibility. I just wanted more money. But now it's what I was already doing 100, because I was aggressive, because I learned about every single department. I was so well prepared for this position. And I think outside looking in, it's okay, a lot of people in my role probably do the budget or do travel arrangements, stuff like that. But I look at myself as more of a chief of staff, because I'm knees deep in everything. And the players I'm really involved with the players, so that's kind of my role and responsibility and what I do. And now it's I've gotten to make it whatever I wanted, and I 100% to Lox, to put me in a position, knowing there's probably 1,000 more qualified people than me, for doing the job before and things like that. I haven't. Yeah. So I'm I'm young, I'm not qualified, I'm one of 4 women in this role, I'm a person of color in this role. Like, there's all these odds that we're like, wait till she falls. Like, and I think a lot of people, I don't want to say administratively, but like, there's people around here like who don't think I should do what I do.
Well, keep waiting.
Yeah.
I was just about to say they're still waiting.
Yeah, and it's hard because you're really, I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to fail. Like, I don't want to be bad at my job. So like, being so in tune with him has helped me because I know his expectations. I know what he wants. So like, I'm really good for my program and I want to continue to grow there, but like, constantly, like, now I see my impact because like girls at other schools, like interns, will be like, hey, can we talk to you? Because at our program, they don't let us do this, this, and this. I'm like, what? Like, I let interns do whatever. I have 4 managers who are girls, equipment managers, and normally they're like, you can't be around the guys or whatever. It's like, shut up. Like, shut up.
Sniffers.
Right.
It sounds like that old commercial. You lamp liquor.
Yeah,
That's what that sounds
Yes.
like. I'm like, what are we talking about?
It's wild. And like, I wear heels to games. Like, this is who I am right now. Is like, this is who I am. This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And like, for people to be like, can you run in your heels? I was like, why would I need to run? Why?
Period.
Like, if I am running, something else is going on.
Right.
Like,
we should all be running.
We should all be
right.
running.
And they come off. So
That's
like, it's
it.
not a problem. Like, and like, I wear like
I'm
pink
here for it.
suits. I like do my thing, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with me and my job.
Right.
And I look good doing it. So period. Anyway, that is, and we're here in 2023. We had freshmen moving yesterday, but like, I get to do so much, and it's because my boss allows me to do whatever I want to do, and I have a seat at the table. My opinions aren't heard. Like, I am the head. I call myself the HBIC, but it's really the head babysitter in charge because my coaches need to be babysat, my players need to be babysat. Like, it's just, I'm really lucky because I'm in a place where I get to do all those things. I know that's not true for like other institutions and other football programs specifically, but I'm lucky to. Yeah.
Well,
made it out
to
there.
you, HBIC.
Right, HBIC.
Yeah, made it out the mud.
Made it back.
Made it.
Right.
Because we didn't say out. You
Right.
spun the block.
So, yeah, I did. I spun the block, and we
Spun the
made it
block.
back here, and I love Maryland. People always say, like, would you go to another university? And I was like, unless I would go back to UCLA for like a really high level position, like, this is my school, it's my alma mater, so I feel so differently about it.
Yeah.
I would never go to another school. Like, I wouldn't feel the same, I don't think, about like helping the kids. Like, these kids are from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So it means more to me, I guess.
So say you can go to Chapel Hill, but
Yeah, it just.
they wouldn't let you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I own that color.
They don't like us.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm. I was telling her that when I was thinking about going there, I was like, yeah, me and Abir were talking about rolling together. And I was like, never mind. I'm not going there.
The turds. It's so great. It is really a unique school because there's very few schools who are in like diverse communities that are in or outside of a metropolitan area. So like the benefits our players get from coming. I mean, this is my recruiting spiel, so if you're watching, it, like literally, it's just how I recruit people to come here because it's not just about your job. Like you have so many opportunities, and like our players get opportunities to like network, mentorship. Like name a black head coach that's doing that, but name another head coach who is doing that. And like there's so few of him, and I love that because I know I'm helping kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I don't care about paper pushing. They know I don't care about my emails. I'm always like, I care about helping these kids so they're not like all cracked out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Well,
please, somebody help the baby.
So help the baby.
Somebody has to help them.
And like I told you guys this earlier, but like my fear is like so much of their lives as football players specifically, like people are helping them all the time and like giving them the answers or this is how you're gonna do this or I'll do it for you, and I'm an enabler. Like I don't have 10 minutes to explain how to do something. I'll do it for you. Like, but you really like. Then I step back. I'm like, oh my god, if they leave here, they don't know how to do anything. We give them food. We tell them what time their doctor's appointments are. I give them a schedule every night on what the next day looks like. And like, what do you do when someone's not doing that for you anymore? Like when you don't make it to the league. And so all of our players have one-on-one mentors, which secret sauce at Maryland. Like you don't have that at other schools, especially other football programs. And we do it because it's someone that doesn't look like you, someone that doesn't come from the same financial background as you. So you know how to interact with those people. Right. Because 9 times out of 10, those are people who are CEOs and presidents of your companies, of football teams, of that you're going to work for. Right. So you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in those conversations in like work settings as well. Yeah. So.
What does that transition look like for them if they don't go to the league? like,
Yeah.
senior year. Well, I'm not going to the league.
Right. And like,
Like,
I mean, girl, sometimes freshman year we know they're not going. And the
Where's
reality
the
is,
lie?
I think what we do really well here in that I will say a lot of schools cannot say this because they don't. We have 3 people in player development. And then, like I said, we have my entire operation team that's all in on, like, we do room checks. Mm-hmm. So we are going to their apartments, banging down the door, seeing how they live. You're trifling. Why is that? Like, and it's not like, okay, I'm doing your dishes. It's more so like, hey, don't leave the garbage on. Or, like, if your food's been sitting out for 4 days, you shouldn't eat it. Like, helping them understand that how they live their life now is how they're going to live their life as a partner to someone, as if you have another roommate in your life or whatever. Like, that's a life skill.
you are a babysitter because
I
that's what I tell
am.
my children, my kids.
And it's hard. Like, for me, I'm like, or the part of, hey, you can't just accrue parking tickets and they don't go anywhere. Like, y'all know campuses, they're gonna give you a ticket for staring. Like,
Lord knows BCU did.
Right. Our tickets are $85. Like, it's crazy. And so these kids think, oh, they just go away because I graduated. No. Collection.
They are absolutely.
Right. And so teaching them, like, our kids don't live in dorms, they live in a real apartment. So understanding that if you don't pay your rent, we give you a scholarship check, hello. That goes to your rent first. Not your sneakers, not going out, not to a cruise. Because some kid said the other day, well, I'm going on a cruise. I was like, okay, with what money? Like, you get money back, but, like, did you pay your rent? Like, how did you have all that money to pay for the cruise? And understanding, like, what is collections? What is debt? Like, now NIL, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're getting paid.
That's
like,
what I was in my head trying to figure out the acronym.
I love my kids. I want every single person to get paid because people are in those seats. Jerseys are being sold. Like, they deserve that.
Yeah.
What I'm having a hard time with is the other universities that are saying, hey, we're going to pay you to come pay for us. And they haven't done nothing for it. And now you're giving this kid $30,000, $40,000. But what you're not doing is accompanying it with the financial literacy. You're not giving them financial education. So when April comes around and they're filing taxes, they spent the $40,000.
They didn't save.
They didn't do nothing with taxes.
Yeah.
And their mom and dads aren't. They don't know. Oh, you were our dependent.
They just broke.
Now you done messed up their taxes. And I will say, like, because being my coach being a person of color and, like, working with young black men, number one, and then 2 football players, is understanding what he went through and what other people aren't doing. Because he's worked at the biggest of the big. He's worked at Florida. He's worked at Illinois. He's worked at Alabama. National championship programs. And, like, what are they not doing for their kids that I need to do as a person of color in power?
Yeah.
And then for the kids that I'm supporting in football specifically. Yeah. And it goes for all of our kids. I'm not just saying because they're kids of color. But it's so important. And I know that's not happening. Because I know, like, when the kids call me, I was like, we've had kids transfer. And it sucks because you poured so much into them and you want them to be great. And you turn around and they're leaving because of the money. But they're calling us. Can you help me with this? They don't do this for. I was like, exactly. Because this is a business transaction now.
Yeah. And
you lost the genuity of it. You lost the, like, love part. And it's hard because it is a better decision sometimes to leave because you can't buy into our rules. If you're not buying into our rules and you don't want to play by it, then you have to go.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play by somebody else's rules. But my fear now is with all this NIL, this money being thrown around you ain't done nothing and you got the money. But then what happens when you have to do something for it? What if you have to earn it by applying and being chosen to do something? Like, I'm scared. Like, their mental health is already screwed, right? Like, with the social media piece and, like, I'm not good enough because I don't have followers or I'm not getting these deals and endorsements. So they're, like, all of that screwed, okay? What happens when you don't go to the league? So all of a sudden, you're used to having your apartment paid for, your bills paid, you have a car because you got this deal. But it stops once you leave college and you don't make it to the league. Like, you're so used to having income coming in.
Yeah.
And now you don't. And right now your income is tied to and they say it can't be performance-based, but, like, people are giving you these deals because you have a brand associated with your football ability. Yeah, exactly. And when you're not doing that, what happens? And so this is very new. We're about 2 years, a year and a half into NIL. And, like, my worry is this, like, we haven't even seen the effects of it yet until, like, 3 years from now when our kids are not having income and not having even. And I'm not saying like everyone's not signing $100,000 deals.
Right.
The schools down south, they are.
Yeah.
They really are. And I know some kids are playing for $500,000 or almost making as much as the coaches are, which is another conundrum to begin with. But I just, it's really hard for me because I know in some of the southern schools, there's not the literacy aspect to all of this. And there's not really the mentorship program that we've implemented here. There's not where I'm getting 40 paid internships every summer for kids to go to work for Pepsi, JB&G and Smith, a real estate company, financial companies, insurance companies. Like, they're not giving them real jobs because in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you're working at Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
Like, there's not 30 Fortune 500 companies around here. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you don't have the same opportunities we do.
Yeah.
So you're failing your kids.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, no one ever looks back to those failures because they're just looking at the, and I love it, like, Jalen into it in the NFL. And I use Alabama as an example because Coach Oxy's coming from there, so he has seen the other side of the guys who don't go. And a lot of guys do go, but, like, when they're done playing, do they have the literacy to, like, build their life after that? And I would say Torrey Smith played here as a wide receiver. His wife was a track, she played track here. She ran track here. She was a teacher, and now, Torrey won 2 Super Bowls. Was when he left the NFL, he was 32. He has a life. He has 3 kids now. So he had to know what to do after that.
Right.
Like, you have time.
Right.
And none of that is putting you away for life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, now he's an announcer, and he has his own 7-on-7. He runs a community program, and he has his own community center. And, like, you think about all those things, you're like, because he was prepared the right way. But, like, my fear is, like, there's a lot of kids who aren't being prepared in that way. So that's why I'm passionate about my job. I think, like, that's why I do it and why I love it. It's like, why do you do college football? It's like, because I can actually help these kids. Yeah. Because all the way up to high school and past, it's like, you're this, you're that, you're, like, the best thing since sliced bread. And it's like, you need to go to class. Yeah. Is what you need to do. Like, you need to work on that part. Yeah. So, no. That's, like, kind of what we do. But, like, there's so much to it. And I think people on the outside are like, oh, you work football. It's like, no, like, we live football. Like, they live football. They have to do class. They have to, like, balance this life of, like, what am I going to do? I have a family. I have a child. Like, all of these different things. And, like, everyone is expecting them to be okay 24/7. And, like, Coach Oxy, once again, had a son who had a mental disorder that didn't show up until he was 21 years old. Went through college as a normal Division I football student athlete. And so we have a social worker who works in our building every day. We have a psychologist. She's here every day. She also has an office down by their academic center, so if you don't want to come to the football building, she's down there. She has a private practice. Like, we have mental health screenings once they get here, mid-semester. Like, we're incorporating all the time. And, like, I just know people aren't doing it. I just know. Like, and I can say that, like, the reason I can speak so confidently is, like, I just know other people aren't. Like, because we live in this fear of, like, what are going to happen to these kids when they leave? Like, all the time. Like, what if someone doesn't take care of them? Like, when their parents can't support them financially, or, like, COVID exposed that. Yeah. These kids were home. It's like, I don't have Wi-Fi. Sending a, what is it called? Like a hotspot or whatever. Yes. Right. Like, I don't have internet at home, Abir. I can't do my homework. I'm like, what? Oh. Yeah. Wait a minute. Hey, I can't eat if my people can't eat, so can you? Like, I'm sending you food, like, pre-made meals in Florida, but you don't want to eat it because your siblings can't eat. Yeah. And, like, what are we doing to help that and, like, make sure everyone, and I know everyone was put in an awkward situation, but, like, that really exposed a lot of things, like the mental health pieces, the financial literacy pieces. Like, if the world was taken away, if football was taken away, which it was, what is their identity? How are we helping them? And we start back, the kids come actually 2 more days. And next month, as soon as everyone's settled with classes, we start our winter conditioning. So, like, we get them twice a week to do either mental toughness, so, like, on the field, like, how do you be better in your mental space, take away the game part. But then we do, every Thursday we'll do with our psychologist, active exercises to, like, when you're getting anxiety, how to manage that, like, how to have a tough conversation so you're not hiding behind your phone. Like, go up to somebody and say, I don't know why I'm not playing. I don't know why I don't want to go to class today because I feel like this. I got all this stuff going on. That's why I had an outburst. Like, you have to communicate what's going on, but, like, they don't know that unless we're teaching them tools how to do that. Yeah.
as a parent, this
Yeah.
is like making me emotional. I'm so
Yes.
serious because it's really like whole body, like
Yeah.
a whole
It
body
is.
program. And so often we ignore the life skills, like you just said. Like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling anxious. This is people don't know. People much older than this don't
Right.
take the time to
Right.
learn
Right.
how to do those things. Their parents don't know
Know
how
how
to
to
do
do
those
it.
things, so they can't teach
Teach
them how to
them.
do it. And
Yeah.
then you're around, 100 of these men. You have all these other people, all these rules. Like, no, today
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing this,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
need to be able to say
Say
that.
Yeah.
that.
Without just walking out of practice
Right,
or
or
skipping
just-
class
Right,
or like
right,
not
right.
showing up to your
Because then you're looked at as
breakfast.
the problem child, and everybody's got to. Well, I do
Exactly.
like,
and I will
and
say
you don't know
that
how to verbalize it because
Correct.
everybody's
So
seen
true.
you that way, probably. Honestly, for
4 years
much
ago,
longer than
where
it
our
should be.
team was when we adopted them, it was like they a hot mess, and it was us against them. Like
Mhm.
if you bought in, you were good. Like you could figure it out. You
Right.
just had to get used to the rules, and like there weren't rules, and there wasn't these parameters. It wasn't like we're trying to make you better, but like it's a fear of mine all the time. It's like you're gonna have so many people who are gonna toot your horn and like praise you and worship you, but when it's all gone, who is gonna be in your corner, and who have you created around your corner?
Mhm.
Who is your network? Who is your community? And like we pair them up with mentors who literally like own these businesses. Some of them are vice presidents. One's a billionaire,
Yeah.
and they don't rock. Our kids didn't show up to the meeting. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
why? Why you did that? Why
Right.
you did that? And they're like, what are we gonna talk about, Abir? What are we gonna talk about? I'm like, figure it out when you get there. I was like,
But
I
you
don't
gotta
know.
get there.
Yeah, and then I realized, and then Coach Oxy and I re-looked at it. We're like, you know what? Bring the people here
Mhm.
to start.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them to practice. Bring them to eat in our dining hall in the same places our kids
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Because they don't know our schedule. They don't
Yeah.
know how we roll. They don't know how they communicate. They don't know how they eat. Like, start there. And breaking down some of those walls. And I was like, I'll start going to the dinner with you. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, I'll come. So I could kind of bridge that gap in the conversation. And it was like, after Christmas break, I was like, ask them what they did for holidays. Ask them what they did for Christmas. And what are they doing for the year? Like, what are their goals? Like, breaking those conversations down and saying, I'll give you 5 questions. It'll take up 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And in their head, it's so daunting before you even think about those questions. But, like, they were regular questions
Yeah.
Right.
that you talk
Right.
about anyway.
Right.
So it has been really cool to see our kids buy in. I mean, on the same token, the transfer portal has been great to us because if you weren't buying it, we cut you out. Like,
Yeah,
you
well-
gotta go. Because what you can't do is create a culture when toxicity continues to seep in.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well.
and like I said, I worked working in a toxic work environment before,
Yeah,
and knowing
yeah.
that people they're not all bought in. Like, you cannot move forward.
Yeah, you cannot.
And so when we knew the grain was working against us, Coach Ox was like, okay, you have the 20% who are all in. You have the 20% on the bottom that are pulling the 60% who's like going with the wind. Like, they're pulling them down. Cut the head off. Get rid of them. You got to go. And maybe some of them weren't ready to go, but
Right.
they had to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Healthiest thing for us. And it's almost every year it's less and less, but we still, like, there's some kids, like, they just won't get it. And sometimes another environment will show them either what they're
Absolutely.
missing or a different type of, maybe these rules aren't the best for them. Maybe they need
Yeah.
something more flexible
Yeah.
or whatever. But our standard's not going to change. Like Coach Alma said, the standard is the standard. We are who we are, and you have to conform. But that doesn't mean we can't help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Oxy doesn't give up. And sometimes I hate it because I'm like, I'm done with this child. Done with this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, F him. Like, he'll do all that, but be like, okay, make sure they go. Make sure
Right.
someone's walking them to there. I'm like,
I'm screaming.
I have 120 other kids. But, like, you're right. You can't give up. If you're going to keep them on the team, you can't give up on them.
Yeah.
They all have to be given the same
Yeah.
attention. So
Yeah.
it is a unique thing. And I will say, like, I don't know how many other coaches are doing because it's tiring. It's exhausting. And it's, now I know why parents, and not parent shaming nobody got no kids, but, like, when people wonder, like, why do they have them on the iPad all the time? Why do they have them not with them all the time? And you're like, because coaching is parenting. And if you have a kid, it is a non-stop 24/7 job to make sure they ain't doing the wrong thing half the time. Like,
Mhm.
and it's hard and it's exhausting because you're working on yourself still. And so once again, I don't have kids, but 120 of them,
You have children.
I have children.
You have children.
You have
and they're
children.
teaching
And
you.
it's even worse because they're Oh.
Right.
They're coming
Right.
to you with a whole set of stuff.
Baggage, like they are coming.
The
That's
luggage
what I'm like,
is
I bet you
there.
a lot of them, it's not even, oh, it's the rules. Da, da, da. They're not even used to having rules.
Yeah.
The concept that you were trying to tell me what to do,
Yeah.
I'm not with.
What?
Like I'm not with it because
right.
I can go
Right.
home. And
I've been the
nobody-
starter
Right.
all the time. I'm always
My
the
mama
starter.
didn't tell me
Right.
all this. That's
Yeah.
what the mentality is.
And
I'm
people-
performing on the field. What do you mean I have to go do this for my? Yes,
Right.
you do.
And people say, well,
It's Coach Carter. This
It's all
2.3.
American.
The
It's all
2.3.
American.
Because the 2.0, but telling 2.3 is
it's
like,
wild.
come
And
on. Come
when
on.
parents call
And
us, I'm
ties.
like, he's in college, actually. So if he ain't playing, he can talk to his coach. It's not your problem. So ask him what he's not doing. 'Cause I'm sure he's telling you all the things that we're doing. What is he not doing to get to where he needs to be? And that's why we have evaluations at the end of the season, but also at the end of spring. So you know exactly. And then the coaches meet with them all the time. It's like, you know what you're doing, what you're not doing. So don't even act like you don't know. But I say with all my heart, I love these kids because they're sacrificing a lot to chase their dreams, and people think that like you get paid to do this. Yeah, they're doing a full-time job in full-time school, and have to sit behind a crowd who sits there and cusses them 18-year-old selves out. When you're rooting, you paid to come here. You want to go? Go somewhere else. Like,
Get somebody
and
else to
so,
do
and they're being scrutinized on a daily basis and like treated lesser than because they're a football player. And I'm like the first one. I have kicked people out of 4 stadiums this year when we're on the road. I was like, talk to them again. Try them because you're trying me.
Right.
They're my kids. So, and I really feel like, I hope every team in the country is protecting their kids the way we protect our kids because they don't deserve that.
Yeah.
They're here to do a job, and they've sacrificed a lot. Parents have sacrificed a lot to get here, so when you're talking crap to people's parents in the stands, won't tolerate it. Like, don't talk about my kids.
Right.
So you can go home.
Right.
You can watch from home. Actually, you get to
can.
sing you, so you can go home.
That
Say
was an
everything
option.
that you would like in the comfort
Yeah,
of your own.
That's it.
For free.
The concept.
Yeah, and so it comes with a lot, and I think I work. People are like, "Oh, you work all the time." I was like, I think I do because I love it. Like, I love my kids. I love what I do. Like, it is work. Like, it's not like it's taxing. It's tiring. Like, there's days I'm like, I don't care. Like, the kids will be like, "Do we have to do this?" I was like, I don't care. Just don't text me like that. I don't care. Yeah, right. But like, literally, like, but it's because like it's such a cool job. It's so rewarding. Like, it's so like.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it is, and like it's also hard, right? Because the kids that don't turn out the way you hope they would turn out, or that you know what they can do if they just did what they had to do, that's sad too. Because you're like, damn, I hope someone looks out for them.
Yeah.
Like, I hope he listens to somebody else,
Yeah,
and so,
right.
but no, my boss does a great job. Like, our staff, like, they're all in, and we're not the highest paid staff in the country. We don't even have half the numbers we should have to support the efforts that you have to put into this type of program. But when you're all in, like, and I think it's because of the type of boss I have, and then like obviously I try to love on my staff a lot. Like, it sucks. We give a lot up. We sacrifice our time with our families, and we're here. And I told you, like, I've had lose relationships over this because like this is really important to me, and I want the kids to know it's important to me, and like they feel like we do it for them and they do it for us, and the exchange is really good.
So I do have to ask, because I know you said this is like 7 days a week, you know, I'm sure the hours are crazy. So what do you do for yourself? Like, what are you doing?
Right now, I think I am at a point where I like, what is it that I'm doing for myself? And I think there would be times in the summer like where it'd be slower, and I was like, oh, I can start working out, I can start doing this. But last year, what I did was I invested in a coaching group, and I was really nervous because I was like, I don't want to spend that money. I don't want to do this. Like, you know, because when you have to invest in yourself, all of a sudden, like, money's an issue. Like, I ain't spending money on that gym, like, and that trainer, and like this, like, or that skincare is expensive.
Yeah, girl,
right?
come on.
Yeah. Someone's birthday party, I'm all down.
Yes,
like,
I'm all down.
and
Let's
so
go.
I just was so I really like I had someone convince me, and like she was like, just do it. Like, she was the coach, she came here to speak, and she's like, I need you to do this. Well, like, I know it'll benefit you. And I will say, like, it was amazing, but I know I didn't give my all. I know I was out of the 100%, I was 30% into that coaching group. Like, I couldn't make all the calls, or I wasn't doing all the assignments, but even with that 30 to 40%, like, and all the women on there were older than me. Some of them were on their second careers. Like, I just learned so much, and like hearing them go through what I went through. Like, okay, when you don't do this or don't schedule yourself a break, or these are how you should do your meetings, or like just hearing them. Like, every time my phone rings, I answer it. Every time someone walks through my office, I stop what I'm doing to answer their question. Mm-hmm. Like, my day just gets like prolonged, and like on to the next day, into the next day. So like those type of skills immensely helped. And like I think like by the end of the year, I was like, okay, I'm pausing people. Like, okay, I hear you. Like, I want you to feel heard, but can we put this on the schedule for tomorrow? Like, so I can sit down and be one-on-one with you. And like, I made so many adjustments, and I think it seems small to me in a lot of ways, but like, I know it's made a really big impact on me. And then I also have just recently got into the NFL Women's Forum. Mm. And I think for the last 2 years, I've completely put all of my professional development on a hold, like pouring into these kids. And I'm like, what am I doing for myself? Yeah. And so this NFL Women's Forum is really cool. It's with NFL executives and men and women alike, but like all the people involved or like who get into it are women. And like a lot of them are in coaching, some are in administration, operations, GMs, like I'm really excited. It's in a month. It's during the combine. Like, I get to go to Indianapolis, and I, like, just sought out a bunch of people, like, how can I get into this forum? Whereas at the Mayo Bowl this December when we went for a team, met this woman who's trying to be a GM, and I was like, oh, my God. I want to go to the women's forum. And we're talking within literally 30 minutes. She got me in contact with a lady who heads the department, and I got to, like, get in. And I was like, thank you. But it's, like, so, like, and this is a baby step for me because, like, it is hard when you're investing this much time in this. Like, how am I professionally developing? And then for myself, like, what I do, that my steal away is for my family. Like, anytime I can spend with my family, like, for me, that's, like, fills my cup. Like, mm-hmm. I know, like, I just want to have time with them, whatever that includes. Like, it could be just chilling at their house or, like, them coming over. Like, just, I want to do other things. Like, oh, like, go get a massage, go do this. And I'm like, I'm all for that. Like, get my nails done. I go shopping. If I'm stressed, I go shopping. Like, I do those things, but, like, literally, so my fiance is a coach here, mm-hmm. so Coach Oxy always say, y'all so incestual up in here, because I'm like, we don't have time.
Where is Grey's Anatomy? Where else are they supposed to meet?
Right, but I tell people all the time, like, where are we supposed to meet somebody? We're all here all the time, like, it's December.
Giving real Grey's Anatomy,
No, yes. Really, like, on Saturdays, like, in December during recruiting, okay, we have all week together, then we start recruiting, we, like, jazz up these fans, we take them out to dinner, we do social, we're doing karaoke night at Coach Oxy's house. Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning brunch, Sunday afternoon we have a meeting, and then we start the week over. And like for the holidays, we're going to a bowl game. That's the goal. You want to extend your season. We want to get a check, bonus. Yeah. And so you're doing all of these things, and just wondering like we're with the same people. And like I will honestly, I don't get sick of my staff. Like I think sometimes you get sick of doing the work, mm-hmm. but even on our days off, like. The GAs, like the hourly employees that have like they literally make minimum wage here. Like I invite them over because I'm like, you don't know how much you do for us, and I can't give you all the money in the world. Like we just don't have the means. But like I think that's what I do well, maybe as a supervisor, is like making them feel appreciated and like, oh, we want to work for Abir, or we want to work here because they do appreciate and take care of us and love on each other. Like we're obsessed. Like this is what we do, and like it's so genuine. I think that's what people on those recruiting visits like. When our entire staff is doing karaoke night together and, like, we're going off on each other, like, that's real love. Like, that's real stuff that we do, and it's not conjured up. It's not like, okay, peace out, we don't see each other ever again. We just, like, happy hour all the time. It's just, we're always together, so it's really genuine, and I love it, and I think that's what makes it easier to be here all the time. Because lately I'm in a bout where I'm like, I need a vacation, like, I need to be far, but... When the kids come, or our players come back, because they've been gone for like 3 weeks, mm-hmm. when they come back on Wednesday, I'm be like, oh, I miss you guys. What'd you guys do? And like, then like 4 days I'll be sick of them. But it's just and a lot of jobs aren't like that, mm-hmm. right? Like, we're flexible. Like, if today I was like, Coach Oxy, I need my eyebrows and nails done today. He's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not like trying to sneak out of work and do all these, like, I'm going right now. We'll be back. And he's like, dang, aren't you going to get your hair done? I'm like, give me the money. So, like, it's great because he does. He'll, like, give me $100. I'm like, thanks, good talk. He'll never let me say that. But he's like...
good talk.
Yeah. Really, or like coaster. She's like, dang, toes crusty. I'm like, okay, well. And this is right. But, like, literally, this is, like, the coolest... It's just so cool because I just don't feel like other places do that. Yeah. And, like, jobs in general. I mean, whatever other football places, but, like, just jobs in general to, like... you, like, me and my boss have such a unique relationship in which, like, he knows I would do anything for this program, and, like, I think he would do anything for this program because he's from the area. He loves the program, but, like, in the same time, like, we're just here to make everyone better and, like, get them opportunities. And he started the Minority Football Coaches Association to help minority football coaches get interviews. Like, why aren't they getting interviews? And, like, for me, like, what I can do on my end to help where I feel my interns, like, am I getting them jobs? Am I getting them opportunities? We had 3 interns last year get internships in the NFL. Like, I'm helping the kids. Like, ma'am, I ain't changing no 60-year-old person on my side. Like, I'm not changing them. They are who they are. Yeah. I can change these 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are students at the University of Maryland who see my journey, and, like, all of a sudden I'm, like, the movement from, like, water girl to operations. Like, anybody who, like, doesn't want to be a trainer anymore, they come upstairs, they're like, well, be your date. And I'm like, a lot of hard work goes into it, but it's just showing them, like, there's opportunities to do things, and, like, but it's whatever you want to do. Like, if I want to be the best at whatever, go call them. Yeah. Go find out how they're the best. I still call people and find out, like, what are you doing to continue to, like, be locked in, be engaged, not have burnout. Like, in this climate of, like, NIL, half my players probably get paid more than me. And I'm like, but I still have a job to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, there's a lot of animosity involved. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, I do all this, you haven't done nothing, and you're getting paid $500,000. Or $200,000 or $50,000. Like, I gotta work half a year to get that. Like, you know what I mean? And it's nonstop. And so, but the humility of it is, like, I'm here. This is service oriented. Yeah. Like, I'm here for a purpose. Yeah.
Which leads me to exactly what I was gonna say, because it sounds like helping others seems to be your purpose in life. What did you think that doing that, like helping others, was going to look like this when you were younger?
Yeah, I think probably not in this way. I don't know, like, because I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and I never was gung ho on, like, what I wanted to do, because I was like, if I become a doctor, I want to work at this volunteer thing or do this community engagement. Like, that was always my thing, like, just helping, giving back. If I had $2, you could have 2. You know what I mean? I didn't care. Like, but I didn't know that work could be like this. Like, I didn't know. I thought it had to be separate. Like, you had to go volunteer somewhere. You had to go with an organization and do that. And, like, I didn't know that, like, in my own work that I'm getting paid to do and, like, help me survive, like, I could help others. And I think that's so... Maybe people don't value their jobs like that. Like, maybe, like, other people don't look at their jobs. I think no matter what you do, you're doing something and probably helping others. It's not just aimless, like, I hope. But I don't know. Like, it's just this job. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, and once again, like, for a lot of times, like, I worked at a surgery center, so, like, people are having surgery, so, like, I feel like I'm helping the people. Right. But, like, and I guess I haven't really worked in a lot of places because maybe that's my personality. Like, I want to be around people. I want to... what is my role here and how am I servicing? And that's important for me to get a job. Like, is this gonna, or long lasting? I'm like, Coach Oxley, I can't just be around you all day. Like, can't be your assistant forever. And led me to this job where now it's like tenfold. Like, I'm helping every single person in the building. I'm helping top, bottom, wherever you are in the process. So it's been super rewarding. But no, I don't think I really understood the impact I would have and how that has, like, fed back into myself and, like, what I want to do now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll just say, from a 757 perspective, it's inspiring. I don't even feel like it's a big enough adjective. I mean, I feel like you've taken, or at least the way that I personally look at sports in 757, I look at our players and think about the development that goes into them, even from that high school, AAU level. Because, like you said, we all know the 757 is full of sports talent, but that doesn't translate on the collegiate level or, like, the professional level. And it's like, well, why not? What's happening? Where are the gaps? Like, something is going on that, these two could make it, but the rest of y'all couldn't. And you were better than him. Like, I'm confused.
Like, coaches' education, like, it's all on the people who are leading them to be educated and to know that, like, all of the different aspects, like, you have to know what they're looking for. You have to be engaged. And then, like, sometimes the coaches are like, wow, I got the best wide receiver in the whole country.
Yeah.
Like, but
that doesn't mean that everyone, like, sure, they're looking at them, but your player doesn't even know what to do when he's being recruited. Like,
how to advertise them. They are MFing people on Twitter. They are, like, co-signing God knows what and, like, retweeting. And so, like, all of that, and I mean, I didn't touch on even that, but we have a partnership with Open Doors. And it's a company, like, if you get a brand evaluation, right? Like, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars as an individual. So as the university, we have this partnership with them. So like our kids get free brain evaluations. Every platform, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. So it's like, hey, that tweet that you said that, like when you were 13, delete it. And like, hey, this is when you should post. And like, we are now investing all these things into them. And like, once again, it's at the college level. So like, so much has already happened in their lives.
Right.
But like, educating them on what's to come and like how to approach it. And like, you have to be a professional long before you're actually a professional. And so that's the real thing. And I think the one thing, like any person should know getting a job. Like, you can't just walk in and you're the one like with the attitude and doing this and that. And like, all of a sudden, you're like, can you write me a recommendation letter? It's like, you skipped 10 classes.
Hey, unfortunately you can't.
Yeah, and
so they do.
Yeah,
like,
and so
it's
like
terrible.
it's terrible, and like they do, and like they don't understand the scope, and like I think it's just getting worse a little bit. But like I tell my interns all the time, I'm like, I only know you to be what you show up to be here. Yeah. Like I'm not going home with you. I'm not going to class with you. Like you have to put your best foot forward, and I don't care who's here. That means like we're a casual work environment. Like I dress like this, but like there's also times where a lot of days we're in hoodies.
Yeah.
You can't mother F people in normal workplaces. Like, this is a football building. Like, we say a lot of things that probably shouldn't be said publicly. But you can't do that to other places. Like, stop. Don't TTYL your teacher. Like, don't. And don't, okay, this is I don't know what it means. The kids be like, all right, instead of be like, all right, they'll say ard.
Ard, yeah.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
Ard.
I don't know.
But they be like, ard.
But
and
I'm like,
I've heard, but okay.
But like, so like, I get it.
know.
Like, I'm the cool director of ops. But like, y'all, don't hit me with that.
Just please don't ard.
Yeah. Or the GC, the group chat. And I was like, what?
Yeah, the kids love a good acronym.
Yeah, and I'm not
anyway.
on the same page. So anywho's, it's just so many things that like, if we help them, and I remember in middle school, we had like the Young Gentlemen's Club, and I just like thought we were diverse, JMMS, okay, the best one period.
Clearly,
So,
Eden wasn't doing enough. Eden was not doing enough.
Right.
Thomas Eden didn't do this.
Step it up.
Y'all were fine.
Hey, I mean,
everyone thought Eden was bad. It wasn't.
Right. We had laptops.
I enjoyed Eden.
MacBooks.
Let's not
Yeah,
get confused.
MacBooks.
I enjoyed
But-
Eden.
So I mean, really,
And y'all weren't beating the Eden band. Let's
Yeah.
not get
Did we
it
have a
confused.
Did we have a
No, I don't think so. But really, when you look at it, like, I came to Duval, okay? So, like, I came from JMM. So, I went to magnet schools in 3rd grade. I was in the baccalaureate program at Hampton, right? And so then you go to Duval High School. That's, like, everybody who got kicked out of every other school is going to Duval. And so, and I'm walking in. We have uniform. It's a public school. We have uniform. I was like, what?
You should be confused.
Second day school, girl gets stabbed. And I, at that point, had never probably seen a real fight, like, from the roots. It was like the entire wig and tract was out, and the scalp, like part of the scalp, like, and so, and then it was my first time. I was like, look, I only have hair to my scalp, so if someone grabs it, we're done for. Like that's it.
Right.
And so I realized, like, I was trying to start a Young Gentleman's Club there, and I was like, that wasn't going to work, because people like we had 3 bus stops around. We were on the corner. We had 3 like metro bus stops, and like. There's Deontay, and he's getting on the bus. We were supposed to be in first period, though. He got on the bus to get here, and now he's on the bus to go elsewhere. And I was like, from first period, looking out the window. And it was just such a different environment. I'm like, schools up here didn't have the same intimacy that we did in Hampton, I guess. So it was just it was different. And my fear was, like, so many of those, I mean, my high school graduation was like 150 kids. We started with like 400. And, like, what happened to them?
Wow.
I don't even know how many went to college. So it's like this being a professional starts literally when you're younger, and like if you're not getting it then, like by the time you get to us, we're like unpeeling this onion of like, oh my god, trauma and this and that. Now it's worse. Like, and so parents just drop them off here, have fun. I'm like, thank you very much. Like, but yeah, it is super rewarding, and I mean, you got to be a special person because it's patience. It's parenting.
Yeah.
It ain't your kid. You didn't give them no money.
Well, from what I've gathered, they have a special person to do it. So
Thank you. I love
You're the
no.
perfect person for
No,
this.
go Terps. it's a tough place. We're in the DMV where like there's a lot going on here. You're not isolated in a college town, so it's like you face a lot. So yeah, no, we love what we do here, and I'm glad you guys got to come and see and get to see how we live. And no, anybody who wants to come to the University of Maryland, it's a great place to be. It really is, and it gives you everything you need for sure.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to tell?
For the peeps.
For the peeps.
Go Terps. Come on now. Go Terps. No, but I would say for anybody looking, and I don't know, the point of this is like learning about me or the Terps or whatever, but like follow your gut feeling, follow your heart. Like we are only alive on this earth for so long, and like you need to do what you want to do for you. Because when the doors close at the end of the night, you have to deal with your burdens. You have to deal with your ups and your downs. Like no one else is coming in there with you. So I just say that all the time. And that's in relationships too. At the end of the day, like you're responsible for your relationships, your situationships, and so much more. But just be happy. Like do your thing. And like I promise you, boo-boo, the money ain't gonna solve the problems, and it doesn't, and it hasn't for me. And it came when it needed to come for me. Like my money came back tenfold where I am right now. I get contract negotiations next week. I'm ready. Coach Ox, if you're watching.
Her
money.
Yeah. And so, and it comes back. Like, it will come back. And, like, what I do for these kids, like, that effortless, because they are going to be good. Yeah. And that's what I care about. So, yeah, for the kids.
A new FTK. That's beautiful.
A new FTK. Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem, my loves. I appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Oh, this was great.
This was great.
Yay! Okay, this is awesome.